Today I want us to look at the instruction set, and we want to know exactly what it is and what is the purpose of such in a computer. Now, in a computer system, instruction set are very important because they tell the CPU the instructions which the CPU is supposed to perform. So the instruction set are operations which are decoded in sequence and executed. So each operation will either instruct the arithmetic logic unit or the control unit. Now, an operation consists of two elements. One is called the opcode and the operand. Now, the opcode informs the CPU what operation needs to be done, while on the other hand, the operand is the data which needs to be acted upon, or it can also refer to register in the memory. So, any instruction set has operation, and these operations consist of two parts: the opcode and the operand. So we have this instruction set in low-level language, and normally they are supposed to be executed into or converted into a language which the computer is able to understand for that matter. So we need also to remind ourselves that instruction is a group of command for the central processing unit in a computer. So this term also is used to point to all the instruction for the CPU and also the subset of instruction that basically enhance the performance of the certain situation in the computer. Now, all CPUs have their instruction set that enable commands directly directing the CPU to switch the relevant transistors. The instruction tell the CPU to perform some task. Now, this task can either be read, write, move, right? So the instructions are made up of specific number of bits. For instance, the CPU instruction might have 8 bits, where the 4 first bits make up the opcode or the operation code. So remember, opcode stands for the operation code, and the other 4 bits now tell the computer what is supposed to be done, or the memory location that should be referenced. So the length of the instruction set can vary as a few bits to many hundred bits. Yeah. So it is also important to take note that since computer needs to understand the operation to be carried out, so there is actually a limited number of operation code that can be used. Now, this is what we call the instruction set. Now, all software running on a computer will contain a set of instructions which need to be converted into binary. Now, the fetch, decode, execute cycle is a sequence of steps that is used by the CPU to process each instruction in a sequence. Now, we have different configuration of computers and CPU. For instance, we have instruction set known as x86. So it is a common CPU standard used in many modern computers. Although there are different computers different manufacturers usually may adopt their own internal electronic design based on the x86 CPU, but the most common one is this one, x86, not x82. So the x86 is the most common one. Yeah. So for example, the Intel Pentium and AMD Athlon CPU use almost identical 886 instruction set, even though they are based on different electronic design. So at the end of the day, the basic or the elementary thing to remember here is that that x86 instruction set is the most common one, but sometimes these instruction set are created depending on the different designs of the central processing unit. So we should not confuse the instruction set with the programming code. Now, instruction sets are low-level language instructions that instruct the CPU how to perform out an operation, while a program code normally needs either to be compiled or interpreted to be converted into the instruction set understood by the computer. So, example of some instruction set are what I mentioned earlier, but it's also important to mention that you'll have commands like add or GMP, LDA, and so on. So those are some of the commands that are there. We also need to know that there are some types of instruction set. So the first one is what we call complex instruction set. There is also reduced instruction set, and there is also enhanced instruction set. Now, just briefly describing each of them. So for example, in complex instruction set, the processor have additional microcode or microprogramming layer where the instructions act as small programs. Okay, the programmable instructions are stored in fast memory like cache and can be updated where they can be updated. So more instructions are included in complex instructions set computer just to make sure that the computer is able to perform optimally. So a single instruction can initiate multiple action in this context. Now when we are talking of reduced instruction set computer, the architecture has hardwired control. It doesn't require microcode, but has a greater base instruction set. Also, it uses smaller and more compact instruction set with fixed instruction format as compared to the complex instruction set computer. So the processor are always designed to process fast and more efficiently. Now that is the biggest gain of reduced instruction set computer. And finally, we have the enhanced instruction set. Now these instructions type are more familiar because they are often using marketing CPUs. Example of this goes back to 166 megahertz Intel Pentium with multimedia extension. So It was introduced in 1996 and marketed with enhanced Intel CPU multimedia performance. MMX refers to the extended instruction set. So those are the